There's only 24 hours in the day, 168 hours in the week. And there's only so much that we can get done in that time. And we have to prioritize. We have to figure out what matters. And we want to answer the question, how to get more work done in a day. Hi, my name is Tiffanie Kellog, creator of the 13 Months a Year program, where we figure out how do we get an extra 13 hours a week times 52 weeks, which will actually give us an extra 28 days in the year, giving you that 13th one extra month. Now, I can't cover everything that is in that massive program, but I do want to give you a few tips on how to make the most of your day and how to get more done. We've got 4 topics I'm going to cover in today's video. If you want to skip ahead, you can go down to the description below and pop on ahead. We're going to be talking about how do we get out of email hell so we spend less time there. How do we actually have more productive time and actually get things done without burning out with the Pomodoro Technique. We're also going to be talking about how to know what to work on to get towards your goal using the Ivy Lee method. And last but not least, I want to share a couple tricks on mastering your calendar. This is going to help you get done the things that you want to get done. Many people that I talk to have hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of emails in their inbox. That makes me stressed out right now. And I haven't even seen it. Just the idea of going into an email box. Like right now, I think I had 10 emails before I came on to today's video. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. Now, this is the Cliff Notes version. So I have a 35-minute video, how to escape from email hell. I'll put information about how you can check that out in the description below. So I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version, just a couple ideas on how to get out of that email hell. Read an email once and only once. I know you're thinking, what? Too often we read our email or we skim it and then we're like, I'll come back to it. And we come back to it a little bit later, later today, later tomorrow, later next week, later next month. And then we stop even looking at it. And all that time that we spend reading and rereading actually is taking away from our productivity time. So we want to stop that. And then you might be wondering, but Tiffanie, what do I do with the email? So I use the more method. So once I read the email, hopefully I can respond to it right away. And if so, then I move it into a folder. I think it's fine to have dozens or hundreds of folders. If you need to keep some stuff, I understand. Or that's not what the O stands for. The O actually stands for organize it. And by that, it's kind of a British thing. I mean, put it into your calendar. If it's an email that's going to take you 30 minutes to respond to, I might schedule it for my next 30-minute spot in my calendar. Now that assumes you're going to honor your calendar. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the video. But I go ahead and I schedule that in the calendar. Now let's say today is a Monday and I'm not going to send out the email, or it's not scheduled till Friday. I might send an email response to the person that sent me the email and says, hey, I got your email. I have it on the calendar for Friday. I will respond with the information then. That way they know it's taken care of. The R stands for reassign. So is there somebody else in your world that you can send it to let them deal with it? Or next level, even hire somebody to be your person that takes care of all your emails on your behalf. Or the E stands for eliminate. Let me get rid of that email altogether. Press delete. Either want to move it, organize it, reassign it, or eliminate it. And then that way I'm reading each email once and only once. And what I do is I actually schedule time. And that's why I have 10 emails left in my email box, because I had 30 minutes before I was shooting this video to go through my emails. I didn't get through all of them, but I got through most of them. And my next chunk of time later this afternoon, when I go through emails, I will start with where I left off. Parkinson's law says the work will expand to fill the time that you have. You can spend all your time on email or schedule a little bit of time, be focused on it, and get it done. Again, Cliff Notes version, there's way more to this I get, but I wanted to share in a couple minutes what we do have a 35-minute video that gets all these details taken care of for you. If you need some help, check that out. When it comes to working, sometimes it's like we get burnt out and we're like, oh, I've been working on this. Am I done yet? Am I done yet? And the way the human mind works, I'm not going to get into the science of it. We can focus for a while, but not that long. So the Pomodoro Technique actually says work on something for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. And it's interesting. I was working on a massive project a couple of weeks ago that was driving me nuts. And I was reminded of this because sometimes we forget. That's why we revisit these conversations. I'm like, all right, here, I'm going to do this. And so I'd set my timer for 25 minutes. Nowadays, we've got the app, the phone that can do that. Used to, it was called the Pomodoro Technique because they had the little cute timers that you have in the kitchen. That's where it got its name from. So set the timer for 25 minutes. I was working on the project 25 minutes. About the time the timer went off, maybe a minute or two before, I was starting to get frustrated. Like, this is not working. This is not working. What am I going to do? And then the timer went off and I'm like, I'm so close, but it's not working. So I stepped away. Sometimes it's, I would go grab a beverage or go to the restroom, play with my puppy dog, work on my garden. And then after those 5 minutes, I came back and all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's the workaround. Oh, this is working. And so I highly recommend, 25 minutes on, take a little break. And that will help you be productive and getting your work done and the stuff around the house. I don't necessarily like cleaning, but it's like, all right, I'm going to clean for 25 minutes and then I can take a break. But I actually focus on the cleaning for 25 minutes and I get way more done than if I'm like, let me do a little of this and a little of that, a little of this. The focus is phenomenal. And this isn't necessarily one of the things that I promised to you, but if you want to get more work done, this lovely smart device that's supposed to be so helpful, I recommend turning off as many notifications as you can. Text and phone calls are the only things that make noise on my phone. I can go to my email, I can go to my social media, I can go to all of those other things. But the only two times my phone makes noise is text and phone. That makes my life a lot easier because every time it interrupts you, 64 seconds is how long it takes you to get back focused on what you were working on. And if your phone's going off every 2 or 3 minutes, no wonder why we can't get anything done. Another way on how to get more done in the day is going to be the Ivy Lee method. This is a powerful productivity hack. Essentially, the night before, you want to come up with a list of 6 things that you need to do the following day working towards your goal. You write them down. And then in the morning, as you get up and you're doing things, when you have the time in your calendar, go ahead and let me work through what's on the list. So to me, it's not let me recreate what's already on my calendar. That's a different conversation. It's what are some things that I need to do working towards my goal. If I want to be healthier, maybe it's I want to plank and drink a certain amount of water, do a certain amount of exercise. If I'm working on a massive project, let's say my goal is to write a book. Now, I'm not going to put to write a book down on my list for the Ivy Lee method, but I might put down research, create an outline, write a paragraph, write a sentence, write a few words. Think about the topic. I mean, you can break it down into bite-sized pieces. And I actually have a much more in-depth video that talks about this, and I'll put the link in the description below to how to get more things done faster, better, quicker, something along those lines. We really get into the Ivy Lee method. So you can check out that video if you want more information versus watching it here in this video. The last thing I wanted to talk about is mastering your calendar. There are a lot of things that we can do to really become a master of our calendar, which will help us get more done. Like, how do we get more done with time blocking? I'm a huge, huge fan of time blocking. And essentially, that's where you take chunks of your calendar and set it aside for certain things. I know I don't want to have 20 Zoom phone calls scheduled all throughout my calendar all during the week. I'd much rather have 2 or 3 days of Zoom phone calls scheduled back to back. And part of the reason is then I only have to do hair and makeup once, or however many days that is. Like, I love it if I can leave a Monday or a Friday that's just an office day where I actually don't have to put myself together. Used to it was I want 1 day a week where I don't have to leave the house. Now it's 1 day a week where I don't have to be on Zoom or on camera. So I'll schedule my calls over a 4-hour period instead of sporadically. Now, that being said, I also do try to have some boundaries. So typically I like to leave 15 minutes in between my meetings. So if I'm doing a Zoom call from 11 to 12, and then I have my next Zoom call, ideally it starts at 12:15. So I'll go, 11 to 12, maybe 12:15 to 12:45, 1 to 1:30, depending on how long your calls are. And what I find is this 15-minute break. I mean, if we think back to the Pomodoro technique, it makes sense that we take the break. Plus, I can, go refill my beverage, play with the puppy dog, but I'm not stressed. And if my call 4 runs a couple minutes late, no biggie, and I'm still able to be on time. Because there's nothing worse than, okay, I'm rushing to get into a call at 12:15 and the person doesn't show up till 12:18 or 12:20. And it's like, well, why was I rushing? Plus, then sometimes I'm like, ooh, I've got 5 or 10 extra minutes and I can either go through a couple extra emails or cross something off my Ivy Lee method list. I think also the power of mastering your calendar is creating the harmony that you're looking for in your world. Now, I'm not a big fan of balance. I don't know that it actually exists when it comes to time management or priority management, as I like to call it. However, I do think we can have some harmony. And so we can put our self care in, we can take care of ourselves, whether it's our morning routine, which will definitely help us have the focus that we want to get more done. Whether it's going to the gym, I like to go ice skating and do yoga, whether it's taking the dog for the walk, maybe it's time with your kids, maybe it's meal prep, whatever it is that's important to you. I think it's important for us to put it into our calendar so we can take amazing care of us, which will definitely help us get more done. And even mention sleep. Sleep is definitely something that is powerful to help us have the focus. And you can actually check out my LinkedIn documents. I have a book on how to, really take advantage of sleep because I think that will help you get more done. And I'll leave the link in the description below so you can go over there and check that out. So these are a couple of my tips on how to get more done during the day. I would love to, in the comments below, hear your thoughts on how to get more done in the day. Or if there's something you want me to expand upon, I'm happy to do that. Leave your information down there in the comments, whatever you want me to do, whatever your ideas are. And while you're down there, be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. We actually have a whole playlist dedicated on how to have more time so we can have more fun in our world. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy networking, y'all.